how to negotiate your salary once you've received the job offer. A lot of people avoid negotiating their salary altogether because, well, as we can all understand, it is uncomfortable and it's easier to just take what you're offered. But as you probably know, it is worth negotiating because your salary is going to impact what you get every single month. It's going to impact the next job that you can get. Obviously, the more you earn now, the more you can negotiate for in your next job. And even if you negotiate a pay raise later on, it's always better to negotiate upfront, because even if you negotiate a raise later, you're still having to live up until that pay raise with the current salary. And whatever you negotiate for, that's going to influence how much you earn over your entire lifetime because of things like compound interest and things like your ability to continue moving upwards. So anyway, if you're here, you know just how important it is to negotiate and to not ignore that key moment when you're offered the job. So let's get into how to do that. Just in case you don't know me, I'm Dahlia and I'm a career strategist helping people get into fulfilling jobs that make them really excited to get out of bed in the morning and that also pay them really well. And for most of my clients, when they switch out of their boring jobs into work that they actually enjoy, they actually end up getting salary increases. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is that they're doing the thing that they're actually born to do, that they're actually going to enjoy. That usually comes with more money. And the second thing is that we also discuss negotiation together, and I help them to figure out their negotiation story and to make sure they know what to say so they can get those higher offers. Well, let's dive in. The first thing is you do want to try to negotiate after you've received a formal job offer. As much as you can, avoid getting into talking about pay and negotiations before you get to the offer. It's one thing if there's a bit of a discussion about the pay range, just to make sure you're not applying for a job that is completely below your expectations, but you don't want to start actually negotiating until they've decided that you are the best person for this job, until they want you, because that's when you're in a good position to say, hey, great, you've decided I'm the best, you've decided you want me, here's my asking price. Here are the 7 tactics you need to master before entering into that salary negotiation. And don't skip number 6 and number 7. First of all, don't underestimate the importance of likability. This sounds basic, but a lot of people actually get this wrong for whatever reason. People are going to fight for you if they like you and they trust you and they just think you're a great person and you're worth fighting for. So anything that you do in the negotiation that makes you less likable reduces the chances that the other side is going to put in that effort and that work to get you a better offer. And it's really about even more than being polite. It's about managing some of those inevitable tensions in negotiation, such as asking for what you feel you deserve without seeming greedy, or pointing out those deficiencies in their offer without seeming petty, and being persistent without being a nuisance. Negotiators can usually avoid those kinds of pitfalls by evaluating, for example, with practice interviews with friends, how you're coming across. So it's a really great idea to practice your negotiations ahead of time, just to get your tone of voice right, have someone tell you, hey, you sounded aggressive there, hey, it sounded like this, or it sounded like that. If you're negotiating by email, which is a bit less ideal, it's always more ideal to do it in person or via the phone, but otherwise, same thing in email. The tone of your emails matters, the words that you use, the way that you form that email. And just one example of how to not be in a salary negotiation is I have seen really high-level people get rejected for jobs because they do just come up, even though the employer thought that they were an amazing, high-level, successful person that they really wanted to have on board. When that person came back acting entitled and acting like a bit too aggressive with their negotiations, they lost the job immediately. So it is important to be likable, and I think this is a really important point because there's so much advice out there, especially on social media, where all of these coaches and things are saying, hey, hey, boss babe, or hey, whatever, get out there and just show them your worth and don't settle for less and show them who's boss, and just these kind of aggressive ways of saying things. And it's not it's not a good look. It's that thing where it's almost like overcompensating when you're afraid of doing something, and then you go too far the other way and you end up like overdoing it on the aggression and on the, hey, I know my worth, I am worth so much, I am worth infinity and beyond, and pay me 5 times more, otherwise I'll walk. And they'll be like, okay, please walk, please go away. So just think about your likability and how you're coming across. Negotiation tip number 2, become familiar with industry salary trends. You need to enter a salary negotiation as informed as possible, because information is your biggest ally. Find out exactly what your industry is paying for your job, taking into account your experience, skills, and even your education. Check Glassdoor.com or other similar websites, which will help you to give a current and realistic view of the compensation in your field. You can also do other types of online research and call up friends in that industry, or once in a while you need to make a new insider contact in a company if you don't have anyone, so that you can just ask them. And just make sure you have a good idea of what the pay ranges are, because it's pointless to ask for something which is way more than anyone else. If you're asking for more than the CEO is making, like, you're probably not going to get the job. Next step is to plan your negotiation story. You need to have a set of reasons why you deserve the amount that you're asking for. So for your employer, they need to be able to rationalize what it is that you're asking for, and that means having a really strong story. So you can do this in a couple of different ways. Based on your research, you can write down certain bullet points. For example, one of them can be, this is how much the other top competitors are paying their people, so that when you talk to your potential employer, you can show them, hey, company A and B, which are your rivals, are paying way more. So then they kind of recognize that, hey, we're going to miss out on the top talent to those companies if we're not able to match, if not surpass, what they're paying. Another point in your negotiation story can obviously be everything to do with all your experience, everything to do with your education. You can point out, I know that usually this type of person is paid this much, but because I have this additional special experience, and which is going to be really valuable to you, I believe I should be paid this much. And don't forget to emphasize what the value is to them. This is not just about you. Like, you can say, I speak 5 languages. This is often my case. I speak 4.5 languages, but I'm aware that for many companies, they just don't care, right? They go, well, we don't need to use your French, Spanish, Portuguese, or Russian skills. Like, that's just not relevant to us. We don't care. So there's no point trying to negotiate more for things that are great and valuable about you, but it doesn't benefit your employer. Make sure you're focusing on the things which are of benefit to them, and most importantly, focus on the value you intend on bringing. If you can put a dollar amount on the value you're going to be able to bring to them, that makes the negotiation much easier. I plan on increasing your profits by 10%, by X million, by whatever. That's obviously the best leverage point you can get, but I recognize that not everyone has the type of job. Like, if you're not in sales, or you're not on the front end of the business, if you're not in donor relations, you might not be someone who's directly bringing in money, and then you need to still plan your negotiation story in a way that you can give them an idea of the value you're bringing. Sometimes if you're not someone who's actually bringing in funds, you can talk about increases in efficiency, what you plan to do to their systems, to their processes, to save everyone time, maybe to save money, even if you're not bringing in new money. But really think about what are those data points that you can discuss, even if they're estimations, and think about that value that you're going to be bringing to them, and have those written out as bullet points so you can remember to include them in your negotiation story. Next negotiation tip is to be willing to walk away. When thinking about your numbers, you should come up with a minimum amount that is, if it goes any lower than that number, you're going to turn it down. That number can be based on financial need, right? You should have a clear idea of what are my expenses, how much money do I actually need to maintain my lifestyle, and you should also take into consideration what you're going to feel good about. You don't want to take on a job that just makes you feel undervalued and make you feel like, oh well, I'm underpaid, but whatever, I'm here, right? You don't want to have that feeling as well. So think about your number and how it makes you feel, obviously how it's going to allow you to maintain your lifestyle, and then of course you can have that really cool number that would make you especially excited at the top, but definitely have that minimum number and know that if you don't reach that, you're going to walk away, because otherwise you do tend to get kind of stuck in a job. I mean, yes, you could just grab another job after that, sure, but it's going to take your time, your energy, your attention. You want to make sure that you're compensated adequately for that. Otherwise, all of your attention is taken by this job, and then you might get delayed in actually getting that position where you are going to have the paycheck that you would want. I remember a time that I did this where I was being offered this position and I told them how much I wanted to earn. I made a really detailed calculation of what my expenses were. I was freelancing, so when you're freelance, it's especially important to recognize how much you need to live off of. Otherwise, you end up saturating your time with a bunch of little projects that don't pay much, and you get to the end of the month and you've been really, really busy, but you haven't been paid what you need to be paid. So I calculated based on the type of work, based on what I saw other people in the industry were paying as well, based on my bills and everything. I gave them the number and they said, sorry, we weren't planning on paying that much. And I said, sorry, I can't do this job. And I walked away. And I'm really, really happy I did that, because I ended up getting another much better job after that paid like 4 times as much. So if I had taken that on, I would have been so occupied in that job, I wouldn't have had time probably to take on that other position. And it all started with me really knowing what my walkaway number was. And ultimately, that employer, they wanted a job done, but they didn't care enough about the job to really invest in it. In their minds, it was like, oh, we should get someone to it was like some website revamp stuff. So it was like, oh, we should revamp the website, but they didn't care about it that much to actually invest what it would cost into it. And so they were obviously thinking, oh, we'll get this girl over here, maybe she'll do it cheap for us and just make those changes. But it would have been a waste of my time to do it that cheaply. Next important tip is to be confident. Delivering your negotiation with confidence is just as, if not more important than the words that you say. Because when you say something with confidence, that is what really fills them with inspiration to say, all right, this person is worth it. They're confident about what they're asking for. We need to give it to them. So you need to absolutely make sure that you appreciate your own abilities before you try to get someone else to appreciate them. If you do not believe in yourself, don't expect anyone else to believe in you. If you don't believe in your own sense of deserving, don't believe that someone else is going to feel that you deserve it. Obviously, as I mentioned before, confidence is not to be confused with arrogance, because arrogance will lose you the job. But if in doubt, rehearse with a friend until you feel confident, but not arrogant. Next tip is start by picking the top of the range. As you're doing your research, you'll likely come up with a range that represents your market value, and it can be really tempting to just ask for something in the middle of the range, just to be sure that you don't shock them, right? There'll be that little voice at the back of your head saying, okay, ask for a bit more, but not too much more. However, you should go for the top. That way, if they negotiate down, you're still achieving something that you're happy with, and you're not negotiating downwards to something that you're not going to feel satisfied by. Next up is don't forget about other benefits. Don't forget to ask for things beyond money, like insurance, education for your kids, accommodation allowances, more time off, or even flexible work arrangements. It might not sound like a lot, like you might be thinking, well, who cares about things? I just need money. But those things can make a massive difference in your life. Plus, if you negotiate something like, obviously, insurance, benefits, and that you don't have to then pay for those things, then those savings translate to money. Or if you negotiate for more time off or more flexibility, that can also equal money sometimes, because time is money, and if you have that time, you could also potentially be open to other opportunities. Maybe like some of my clients, you have a second project that you work on that helps you to double your income, or at the very least, you get your rest and relaxation in, so you have a fresh mind to prepare you to be on the lookout for that next opportunity, which will pay you even more. So if they don't budge on salary, take that as an opportunity to say, okay, I understand that your budget is firm, but let's talk about, and then you can talk about some other benefits so that you're still negotiating and you're still getting the very best offer possible. Finally, remember that negotiation is about creating a win-win partnership between you and your employer. It's not about you winning or them winning. It's really about both of you feeling very happy about each other. You should both be left with a great feeling. And if they really want you as an employee, they should be wanting to make you happy. They should feel like, wow, this person that we really want to hire, they say they need this for them to be happy and do their best work. Great. Are we able to offer them that? Yes. Wonderful, right? That's the kind of vibe that you want in your negotiations, and same on your end. Okay, this employer wants me to deliver X value. Great. I can do that, and my best conditions for doing that, where I'm going to feel good, is Y, and you present that to them. So just keep that in mind, right? It doesn't need to be something that's massively stressful, where you feel like you're going to offend them or anything like that. Don't project any of those types of feelings onto them. And of course, negotiation becomes so much easier when you're not in that desperation mode. You have those multiple offers, your reputation is built up, lots of people know about you, lots of people want to hire you. And then, my clients are always telling me, I had these different job offers and I was willing to walk away. I told them what I needed, I got it. But I was able to be in that position of walking away. I was able to be confident. I was able to do all of those things, not because I was trying to fake it till I made it or anything like that, but just because I had other offers. I had other opportunities. I know I don't need to boost myself and try to believe that I'm worth it. I know I am. I have other people interested in me. And that is one of the biggest keys to negotiation, is to brand yourself as that high-paid specialist, have those opportunities available to you, and then you don't have to fake anything. You tell them, you say, actually, I do have other offers. Can you match this? Can you match that? And they'll say, okay, yes, we need to offer you more. Otherwise, you're going to be snatched up by someone else. So if you want to know how to make those branding strategies work for you in the new economy so that you can be in that kind of position, then check out the free class that I have for you. I'm going to put the link below, and that goes through all the steps towards branding yourself as that high-paid specialist who gets all those job offers and negotiates what you want in the current job landscape. So I'll see you there. Let me know below how you feel about negotiation. What are you working right now in terms of your negotiation strategies and roadblocks and things that you want to improve upon. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.